Will I continue doing the carnivore diet? It's a fair question. Hey, what's shaking, bacon? My name's Bruno Panucci. I hope you're doing well. So I've had a close friend ask me recently if I was going to continue the carnivore diet, and she's expressed some very serious concerns and doubt about that. So first of all, I want y'all to appreciate when you have friends in your life that ask questions like that, you should respect those people. You should have a lot of respect for the strength they feel that they have in your friendship with them, that they can approach this topic and knowing that it might be something that might be sensitive, or they're worried about offending you, but they're worried more so about your overall health. Now, of course, no one wants anyone who's going to be belligerent against them or condescending, or who will try and make you feel like you're making a horribly bad decision. This friend of mine has some medical doctors she follows on the internet, and so she has some valid concerns based off what these doctors are saying. Now, I'm listening to other doctors that are saying, no, we've already tried that route, and this route is proving to be a better route for our patients. Lots of the science, as many of you carnivores out there know, is based off, as far as nutritional health goes, is based off of lots of weak science that was not only never proven, but it was just a theory. It was just a hypothesis based by Dr. Ansel Keys back in the 50s and 60s, and he ingrained it so deeply in our world of nutrition, because there was no nutrition science before him, really, to speak of. He wanted to try and prove his agenda, and it turned out he was completely wrong on his agenda. Now, should I have been taking cholesterol medication for the last 10 years? I've had heart disease, and I've known I've had plaque buildup in my arteries. Most likely, maybe a weak form of it might have been a good medium ground. Who knows? But this is where I am now, because I did not like the side effects of those medications. So I wasn't doing them. And it turned out to be a bit of an issue with my cardiologist. But the cardiologist, you have to keep in mind, specialists are only concerned quite often for their little corner of the world. So a cardiologist is worried about your circulatory system in your heart. My urologist was only worried about my kidneys. And when I was taking aspirin for my heart disease that was aggravating my kidney stones and my gout, that specialist didn't care, because he's like, no, he's like, get off of it. And then I talked to my cardiologist, and they're like, no, stay on it. You need it. So that's just one small example of what it's like when you're dealing with different specialists. They don't care about lots of the side effects, or it's minimized to them. Their ultimate goal is to make sure that that one condition you have is treated to the best of their ability with medications and lifestyle, usually more so medications. So I've changed a lot of my eating habits going carnivore. Now, I ate really bad for the first 6 years I had heart disease. As you can see in one of my older videos, just a video or two back, carnivore has corrected most of my health problems. But the reason why I'm going to be sticking with carnivore more than anything, more than how well it's turned away most of my health problems, more so than the fact that my energy is phenomenal when I eat carnivore. My sleep is usually really good, depending on what type of carnivore I'm doing. More than anything, the reason why I'm sticking with carnivore is this. I have a sugar and carbohydrate addiction. I can't manage carbohydrates. I tried for years, and I just can't. So if someone says, I don't think this is a good diet for you, I can respect their point of view. But what it comes down to is I can't manage that food, and I will balloon up, guaranteed, because I've been there many times in the past. I will balloon up even more than I was at before. So I was at 465 pounds before, and I'm just hovering over 300 now, like 310. I kind of fluctuate between 305, 310. And what's happening is, if I was to do carbohydrates in my life again and go to a carbohydrate fueled, even plant fueled system, I would cave. I would start having junk food all the time. I've been down that road numerous times. I just can't manage it. So as far as me continuing to do carnivore, for me, it's a no-brainer. You have to remember, first and foremost, my heart disease predates my carnivore way of eating. So carnivore, in my opinion, just didn't have enough time to get my fasting insulin under control. I still have high fasting insulin. My blood sugar and A1C are perfect, but I've still been dealing with high fasting insulin. So that's something that just needed more time to be corrected. My weight loss was still moving slowly, but like virtually at a crawl, but it was still moving in a good direction. So It just takes time for the body to heal. I just needed more time. I made changes a little later than I should have in life, but that's what happens when you're dealing with addiction. I couldn't manage that. You know, when someone has an addiction, when they're an alcoholic and you see they're rail thin and it's destroyed their life, it's destroyed their relationships, it's destroyed their work environment, it's destroyed their home life. That's what happens with addiction. You can't stop easily. You can't easily stop your addiction because it's got a hold on you. And when you see someone who's had a heart attack and they're still floating between 400 and 465 pounds, there's a serious problem there. And that's what addiction can do to you. I've recognized I can't manage my addiction. I can cut my addiction out. I can cut all that out, all the sugar and carbs, and I can manage my lifestyle extremely well and enjoy my day-to-day life. But I can't manage those carbs. Even with vegetables, that's enough to make me want to crave carbohydrates, especially with certain vegetables more so than others. So I'm not going to put myself in that position. So one might argue, well, you know, you're going to bring yourself to an early grave. And then there's been the odd knucklehead leaving comments like that, and all the more power to them. That's what they see. They see what they want to see, and that's fine. Getting rid of carbohydrates out of my diet has corrected the vast majority of my health problems. So this isn't me digging my heels in. It's me recognizing that the bigger picture, even higher than my heart disease, is my carbohydrate and sugar addiction. So my heart disease is always going to be there, short of maybe in the future being able to do stem cell therapy to try and manage that, to try and turn that around. There's nothing really out there on the market that's safe to take right now, that's proven, time tested and true, to really get rid of cholesterol in your arteries. Now, carnivore has helped for people, but not everybody. And so I want to do the best I can to try and manage this. So what's the point of going back to a standard American diet or trying to reintroduce carbs if I balloon back up to 465 pounds? And I have no doubt I would go higher than that, because everybody knows when you lose weight and you start going back on putting your weight on, you will typically put more weight on afterwards. And I wouldn't doubt it if it went well over 500 pounds. And I just don't want to risk doing that. I like the course I'm on now. My energy's great. I sleep good. I feel like $1 million for the most part. I'm sure there's a lot of people in my life who haven't been raising these questions to me and maybe wanted to, or maybe some of them know I'm just not going to change my mind. And I can't stress this enough. I'm not digging my heels in. I'm dealing with a bigger issue than heart disease, and that's an addiction. You know, trying to manage my heart disease by going back on carbohydrates, even if that would help, which I seriously don't believe it would, based on all the experience in my life, as well as the experience of others, that would make my heart disease even worse in the long run when I put on weight. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and it'll be fast. It would come on really fast, and that would just exacerbate my heart disease, and they would just start feeding off of each other. And I was in that cycle for years. I finally controlled that cycle. I don't want to go back to it. So if you find that going off carnivore has helped you, all the more power to you. Really, I mean, I'm strict with my carnivore. I don't have a lick, taste, or bite of anything off a carnivore diet. I personally know it's too slippery of a slope for me. So yeah, the idea of me quitting carnivore in the near future, it's just not an option. And it's because my carbohydrate addiction is more severe and more important to me to manage than heart disease. And it doesn't mean I'm ignoring heart disease. It means there's no point in living if I'm going to be living as an addict the rest of my life, an active addict. I like where I am now. It's a good place to be. It may not be the best place to be, but it's a much better place to be than where I was before. Anyway, thanks a lot. I appreciate you listening to my little rant. And I want you to appreciate, too, when you have friends in your life that are concerned, truly coming from a place of concern, you need to really hear them out and let them feel good, because they're doing it out of a place of love. And that's all it's about.